all the news as India continues to battle Pakistan's state-sponsored radical Islamist terror. Now, 3 Pakistani jets is what sources are telling us have been down. What I can also tell you from what sources are telling India today, multiple Pakistani drones have been neutralized. There's been a blast in Peshawar and India is targeting certain locations in and around Lahore. So the situation is very live. Remember yesterday, Pakistan had targeted India around 1 in the morning, or attempted to target India around 1 in the morning. So you have air raid sirens, you have preventive action, a blackout that's happening across multiple locations in our country right now as we prepare first to defend our borders and then to neutralize the threat at source. The point that is being made is India is very systematically degrading Pakistan's war-fighting ability. Remember, Pakistan is a pauper state. Pakistan has very little money. It is living on borrowed money and arms. It barely generates any revenue of its own to sustain its army, which has given itself an 18% increment or an 18% raise. I fail to understand how an army that failed Air Marshal Bahadur and Colonel Dev one by one, that has failed in every operation, continues to wear all those ribbons and medals and gives itself an 18% hike in defense budget and performs so poorly in combat. And I'm not belittling the adversary. I know it's a very powerful adversary. But looking at the situation on ground right now, Air Marshal Bahadur, how would Pakistan respond now that there are reports of it losing an airborne early warning command and control system, multiple fighter planes, and a large amount of drones? How easy or difficult is replenishment for Pakistan?
You have to link this with the diplomatic efforts that must be going on right now. We know our External Affairs Minister has spoken to Secretary Rubio as well as their NSA. So obviously, huge things are happening even as we speak. Now, if we have made our intentions clear, if we had wanted to close down the interaction with Pakistan that was happening, then when they struck us last night and we engaged all their drones with our air defense system, at that point we could have called it quits to say, okay, you tried to attack us, we neutralized you, and let's talk peace. But yes, we didn't. We launched our UAVs, our Harrops and Harpy UAVs in the afternoon to convey a point, to say that this is just not on. Now the ball is totally
after his attempt. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. So that is so the point is the ball is totally in their court, and now they would be sitting down and analyzing exactly where they stand vis-a-vis our determination and our political will. Plus, the pressures must be coming on. I don't think they have got so much support from the West Asian and Arab countries as they had earlier. Turkey is a different matter. China would like to stay away, may give the arms and ammunition, but will strike and stay away. So I personally feel that come tomorrow.
Okay, give me a moment as we try to reestablish that link. We've lost our connection for a moment. India Today's finest team of reporters on ground zero, getting us 360-degree perspective on the story. I have Kamaljeet Sandhu joining me on the broadcast. I have Shivani Sharma joining me on the broadcast. And I have Mir Fareed with me, Sunil Ji Bhatt, Anmol Bali. It's midnight, but our reporters are right there on the field because the threat, there is clear and present danger. Quickly, Shivani, let me quickly come to you for an update before I bring in Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu and Anmol into this conversation. Shivani, where you are, I hope you're safe. What can you tell us? The LC, the line of control, silent, or is it once again hotting up after that massive barrage that had happened earlier?
Gaurav, seemingly it is a bit silent now in past few minutes, and there was heavy shelling that was going on, though this is still on. The LC remains activated, but yes, the frequency has gone down now. What we can get the sense from the ground here in the Uri sector, and we've been witnessing a lot of reports, inputs that are coming in from multiple villages out there. There have been some damages to the property in Indian side, of course, and there were ambulances that were carrying carrying people, evacuating them, the ones who were in the range of this RT shelling. We are yet to get the figures of this injury that has happened, but multiple ambulances in this area have been activated. They've been taken to hospitals, and the LC remains activated. India has been retaliating considerably on Pakistan's side, as we are reporting that there are developments. Multiple cities in Pakistan, including Lahore and areas around, have been targeted by India. They've been engaged by India. Multiple drones of Pakistan that were neutralized, not only in Jammu area, but on the western sector in Jaisalmer too, in Nowshera also. So this is what is going on. Reportedly three Pakistani fighter jets have been shot down here in Indian territory, and more official inputs are awaited, Gaurav. We have a lot more that we are getting to the sources, but since this is an evolving situation, we are waiting for confirmation from the officials. But yes,
I completely agree with you, Shivani.
The situation remains fluid and developing. There is...
You know, India Today's finest team of reporters, and such a privilege to work with the finest. Shivani, Kamaljeet, Anmol, our entire team of reporters, and my colleague Sandeep Unnithan with me here in the studio. It's actually a treat to be able to get you news first, fast, most accurate, authentic. Of course, in the fog of war, there are some situations where there are grey areas, and that's why we, you know, like Shivani was mentioning, we have a lot more information, but we are waiting to give you that information, and probably some of it will be with you with the morning tea, Sandeep, because India is equally good at serving tea. And before I bring in Sandeep, Kamal, where you are, all well, all safe, what can you tell us both about the situation at LC, the borders, and the internal security?
Well, the situation seems to have calmed down. We have spoken to top officials, and let me tell you, official sources are confirming that the worst is over. The drone attacks are no longer taking place. Most of the drones have been neutralized very effectively by our defense system. So say there is a swarm drone attack which took place in multiple locations across Jammu and Kashmir and in Punjab, but meanwhile they were effectively dealt with. But yes, this was an effort to create panic, chaos. But earlier, what we saw was India responding especially to the sort of artillery shelling which was done on innocent civilians in Poonch, in Uri and Tangdhar and elsewhere. But clearly, as far as Pakistan is concerned, they were sending in drones and smaller missiles targeting 15 of our cities, after which what we've seen is a very planned, precise drone attack take place, including in Rawalpindi, in the general headquarters of army in Pakistan. But meanwhile, what we can also tell you is that this looks like a tit-for-tat measure. Remember, no defense installation or other installation has been harmed. There's no loss of life. There has been no injury to anyone. So yes, it does look like that this was done in a symbolic sense that Pakistan can actually do it. This is to create or instill fear in people, create a sense of chaos. But clearly the way things were, and initially, because remember, when swarm drones really come in, they have a capacity to attack. So all this is obviously, but again, the defense system was activated very, very quickly. These drones were neutralized. But this obviously looks like an escalation or one upmanship, at least by Pakistan, which is going to be dealt very effectively in the next couple of hours or so. India has already shown that it is superior in its military might. The way we've fended off previously their attacks, whether it's in Amritsar, Gurdaspur and elsewhere, and meanwhile...
huge story on India today. The Indian Navy has attacked Karachi. Indian Navy opens another front, the first time since 1971. India is going for the jugular. Indian Navy has targeted Karachi. This has happened for the first time since 1971 as part of Operation Trident, and when Karachi was struck in 1971, Karachi was burning for 11 days. Half the Pakistan Navy flotilla had sunk in or around the harbour in 1971. But now, once again, Karachi has been targeted. I want to bring in Sandeep Unnithan. Few people know Indian Navy's might better than Sandeep Unnithan. Sandeep, Navy has targeted Karachi. This is huge right now.
Gaurav, and you know, it brings back memories of 1971, 54 years back, when Indian missile boats in the span of less than 30 minutes staged the 20th century's largest ship-to-ship missile engagements. In less than 30 minutes, they had sunk a destroyer, a minesweeper, and a merchant ship bringing ammunition for the Pakistan military. And of course, they targeted the fuel tanks at Karachi, setting Karachi ablaze. And that was followed by a second attack, Operation Python, a few days later, where they targeted multiple ships of the Pakistan Navy, forcing the Pakistan Navy, bottling the Pakistan Navy up in Karachi. So that is very clearly something that would bring uncomfortable memories of a naval defeat back to Pakistan.
You know, why would Pakistan use terror as an instrument of state policy when Pakistan knows the situation on ground and the actual situation? Unless Pakistan does not know facts at all. Pakistan has a very tiny coast, barely 1,000 to 100 odd kilometers. It has multiple ports. It's learnt its lessons after 1971. So it has Karachi, it has Ormara, it has Pasni, it has Gwadar, which is practically a Chinese port, and Jivani. So if you look at the Pakistani port, these are all the ports, the military ports or the civilian ports that they have. Of course, they have some more smaller ones, but if they're bottled in all across this 1,000 kilometers and the much larger Indian Navy all around in the North Arabian Sea, this is huge, Sandeep.
This is huge indeed, Gaurav. And, you know, I'm just thinking about that speech that General Asim Munir gave in Pakistan on the 16th of April, where he said that Pakistan was going to be a hard state, and he envisaged Pakistan as being a hard state. Now, nearly a month later, it seems to be in an extremely hard spot. Is this the kind of hard state that General Asim Munir envisaged for him and his countrymen? This is unprecedented, Gaurav. I mean, this is the kind of situation the Pakistan military has got into after Kargil. That's almost 26 years later. It is once more time for humiliation for the Pakistan military.
You know, when I was covering the Kargil war in 1999, the instructions from then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to the Indian Air Force was do not cross the LC for the Indian Air Force. We lost a lot of soldiers because we did not cross the line of control, and we were only hitting with the Pakistani soldiers when they came this side. We were not even destroying some of their very strong military installations. Look at how India has changed over the past 25 years, from Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Manmohan Singh to a Narendra Modi, who says, go with what you have, destroy terror at source. Sandeep, this is huge that military jihad infrastructure is being targeted perhaps like never before. Lahore, Muridke, Bahawalpur, Sialkot, now even Karachi.
Absolutely, Gaurav. And, you know, 25 years is what we are looking at, that reign of terror that General Musharraf began after Kargil, after having his face rubbed in the heights of Kargil. He launched one of the worst attacks on Kashmir, the kind of jihadi attacks that we saw. We saw suicide bombers, Fidain attacks, all of it hitting Kashmir, where you had the body toll of over 2,000 casualties every year. And then the terror started spreading through the Indian mainland. When the Pakistan military was emboldened, when we didn't strike them after the attack on Parliament, they started spreading into Indian cities, Delhi, Jaipur, Gujarat, in Mumbai, Bengaluru, all across the mainland. And then 26/11 happened. And now, 2025, a quarter of a century later, the needle has moved decisively. All options are on the table. The armed forces are attacking Pakistan in a way that they have never struck before. The Air Force, the Army, and now even the Navy.
You know, we kept thinking, and you know, first it was the surgical strike that took place. After Uri, it was Army. Balakot was Air Force. This time it was Air Force. And we kept asking the Navy Chief, Ab ki baar Navy ka war. And it's actually happened. Navy ka war is big. I have Geeta Mohan, our Foreign Affairs Editor, with me on this special broadcast. Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur stays with me. Colonel Rohit Dev with me on this big story. Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur, your military analysis on Indian Navy striking Karachi. What do you make of this, sir?
Big expansion of what's going on right now, because you are hitting the underbelly of Pakistan, especially since that's the commercial capital and the most important port of Pakistan. So, depending on, as things become clearer and what we have struck, with what we have struck, these are two different things. Things should get clearer. But the very fact that if things have happened down south in Karachi, then a lot of attention, a lot of logistics would get transferred from Pakistan's eastern front, that is our front, towards Karachi, because that is just as Lahore is so important, so is Karachi, because that's the door to Pakistan as far as all the supplies, the logistics, commercial shipping are concerned. The Pakistan Navy is small. We are much larger as a Navy, much more potent. So let's see how this plays out. This is very early days, and let's hope you are able to get some more information on what exactly is going on there. On the social media, there are some shots, but we have to be careful so that we don't disseminate something which is incorrect.
We're making it very sure all information coming in goes through a system of vetting. Navy attacking Karachi is big. I have General Atta Hasnain joining me on the broadcast. Geeta, as far as India's foreign policy is concerned, External Affairs Minister Jaisalmer and had a chat with Marco Rubio, Secretary of State and NSA. What information can you add about the diplomatic efforts? Because I believe Rubio also spoke to Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif.
And look at the readout, the huge difference in the readout between what he said to External Affairs Minister Jaisalmer and what he said to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif. On the one hand, extending support to India, saying that America stands with New Delhi when it comes to this fight against terrorism. But to Shahbaz Sharif, he said that, again, regretting what happened, but also said that Pakistan needs to rein in the terror industry in Pakistan. Not exactly in the words that I've put it in, but paraphrasing what exactly Marco Rubio said, that they should stop the terror factories in Pakistan. So that's America lecturing Pakistan on a day when we are seeing a massive escalation. What you just broke is very important, Gaurav, because at this point in time, everybody was talking about how is India going to retaliate. It's not about the little escalatory moves that we saw through the evening. It's now that we're talking about the real escalation. India going into Karachi, the Karachi port. That certainly is going to be massive. There is a lot of conversation and chatter. We can't confirm nor deny. There's no official confirmation on what's happening in Pakistan. But got a lot of chatter on many people within the army circles in Pakistan not happy with General Asim Munir. Is he in trouble? Is there
absolutely.
Going to be...
You know, that man has taken Pakistan down a very slippery rope. And I want our viewers to know, on India Today, we said that man Asim Munir is dangerous for Pakistan. He's not good for Pakistan. He's a self-seeking jihadi general. And look at Pakistan's history. General Hasnain, before I bring in Sandeep onto this conversation, a jihadi general who, we were discussing was a combination who saw himself a little like Muhammad Ali Jinnah and saw himself as a Ziaul Haq, and a combination of Zia and Jinnah cannot be good for Pakistan. Both of them took Pakistan down a very, very slippery road. But what do you make of Karachi under attack right now by the Indian Navy, General Hasnain?
First of all, I was expecting a escalation in a different domain, and I did expect that something would happen either in the maritime domain or perhaps a maneuver on the ground, which can be either from the Pakistani side or our side, which would show intent on the ground. Now, that would be something very dangerous. So I think what India has done in terms of, sort of exploiting the maritime domain, sending in, I am told even the aircraft carrier is in that general area somewhere, and targeting Karachi. You can always pull back from this. You can pull back comparatively easily. But if you make a ground maneuver at this state time, it becomes something which is very, very difficult to control and sort of stop at any time, because it happens on a broad frontage. It happens with a great amount of depth. The Navy's comparative thing is that it's got greater flexibility in its employability. I think this is a smart thing which India has done in terms of opening up another domain and putting pressure on Pakistan. And as you are saying very correctly and identifying that there seems to be internal pressure building up on General Asim Munir himself. And we know that he's been on a slippery path for a fairly long time. You yourself have just described him very well. His character is such. He is known to be a very slippery kind of a character, and he has displayed all those qualities in the recent past. I will not be surprised in the next 1 or 2 days if you find some efforts to try and displace him.
Okay,
so be
sir,
it.
stay with me. Yes, stay with me. I have Shweta Singh joining me on this broadcast. She has more breaking news joining in as she joins us with that information. Shweta, this is something that hasn't happened since 1971. Targeting Karachi, and the Indian Navy is far, far superior than Pakistan. Shweta, get us the latest.
Gaurav, we saw how India actually retaliated after last night's attempts by Pakistan. The Karachi airport was already shut. Now was the time for the Karachi port to be shut. And Karachi port is so important for Pakistan. It is their nerve. Now, Pakistan had spoken about Kashmir being their jugular vein. Now with Karachi being destroyed, with each and every attempt that is being made by Pakistan and how the Indian forces are shutting them down, Pakistan will realize what and where in their entire map are their veins, their jugular veins, which are being cut by the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, the Indian Air Force. With the Indian Navy now jumping into the fray, Karachi is getting to see its worst nightmare after 1971. We know for how many days Karachi kept burning during 1971, and they were thinking that this time it will just be a blockade. Well, even when we talk about a blockade, it's not just, because it completely finishes Pakistan. It is their center, which is absolutely necessary for them to stay alive. And at this point, when the economy of Pakistan has gone to the rubble, it is actually a very big question how Pakistan is going to repeat what it tried to do this evening, how it tried to actually annihilate our cities. Pakistan has to be taught a lesson, and it is not just the artillery guns at the line of control, not just the missiles that are being sent across, but the Indian Navy finally in action. Gaurav, really, you would also want to talk about the weapons that are being used, the warship that is being used, but in the interest of national security, let us just keep it at that the Indian Navy from the Arabian Sea has launched an attack on Karachi.